I'm Lenise Collins, and this is SDG Update, brought to you from the SDG Media Zone in New York City. More than 2,000 delegates from countries, cities, businesses, and community organizations from around the world are in New York for a 10-day meeting to consider how to speed up efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. The high-level political forum has turned its attention to the need to build more sustainable cities. An SDG Update in the SDG Media Zone will be looking at these issues in depth. But first, some sustainable development news briefs. Local and national authorities are making uneven progress towards achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 11 of making cities safe, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable by 2030. More than 700 cities will have populations of over 1 million people by 2030, and without proper planning and regulation, this could lead to soaring levels of poverty, crime, pollution, and sickness due to expanding slums, lack of clean water and sanitation, congested roads, and few or no safe open spaces. Adequate and affordable housing is a global challenge. The total number of people living in slums and informal settlements has increased from 807 million in 2000 to 883 million in 2014. Air pollution is on the rise, and although the provision of public transport is rising, it's still inadequate. Cities are growing at a faster rate than their population, leading to higher costs for infrastructure, more traffic, and more pollution. 91% of the world's urban populations breathe unclean air, with pollution causing 4.2 million deaths per year. Returning from a trip to the Lake Chad Basin region, UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed told the Security Council that climate change is linked not just to environmental issues, but also to food insecurity and conflicts. She said that while the impact of climate change may be spread unevenly across different regions today, no country will be spared from its consequences in the long term, and governments need to act together to find effective and sustainable solutions to this challenge. New York City proclaimed 11 July as Global Goals Day. New York, which is pursuing its One NYC plan to make the city resilient, equitable, and sustainable, will be the first city to voluntarily report on its progress to the UN High-Level Political Forum. 47 countries will also report on their progress during the forum. With us here today to discuss the role of cities in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals is Maimouna Mohammed Sharif, who heads UN Habitat. Ms. Sharif, thank you so much for joining us and stopping by today. Just to start us off, can you describe what a sustainable city is? What does it mean for a city to be sustainable?
Thank you very much for having me here. Sustainable city actually is very broad. It's different from cities to cities, but actually in general, it's just to have a better quality of life in the city, meaning that have it accessible to the public transport, accessible and affordability in terms of housing, then in terms of public spaces, and also in terms of work and employment. It's just like giving a good quality of life for the people in the cities. That's what sustainable cities is all about.
Yeah. And what's the progress that we've made thus far? How are cities doing and countries doing in creating more sustainable living environments?
Yeah, from the report of the Sustainable Development Goal number 11, is the cities is a mixed progress. There are progress in terms of the slum, where there is a reduce in terms of the proportion from 28% to 23%. But however, there is an absolute number of people living in slum from 800 million to 880 million. And also there is in terms of the progress of the air pollution and in terms of water and public transport. But however, it varies from cities to cities. And I think this is because it's only for the past 3 years. I hope that in the future, in the next report, it will be a better progress for all the cities in the world. Yeah.
And what are some of the obstacles that you're seeing that cities and countries are finding in making progress in these goals? What are some of the barriers they're experiencing?
There are few obstacles. One is that there are lack of the integrated holistic sustainable development plan at the country level. And even there is a development plan at country level, there are also challenges in translating this plan into the local level. And number two is the capacity to understand what is the new urban agenda is all about, at the either at the national level, at the central level, or at more often at the local level by the mayors. And the third is in terms of the technology. And the fourth is in terms of data, because you're still struggling with the data at the city level. We have at the national level, but not at the city level. So here UN Habitat is trying to formulate how we can monitor and collect data, especially disaggregated data, where we can get the importance of the data and how we can analyze through this data, and at the end of the day we can put forward other suggestions in the next reporting.
It sounds like there are still a number of challenges that we see and that cities are facing. But do you have any recommendations for what individuals can do in their everyday lives to help make their living environments more sustainable?
I think I totally believe that any changes to sustainability start with individuals. We cannot be blaming, oh, we should start with the government, but we start with individuals because, for example, that think green. People used to say that you eat green, stay green. And I think we need a lot of rethinking now. Rethinking in terms of the way of life, the way we consume things, the way we spending the natural resources. And I think especially like talking about the solid waste management. We used to talk about reduce, reuse, recycle, but I believe in 4R, rethinking. Everything that we do, we rethink of the impact to the environment and for future generations. Yeah.
Wonderful. Ms. Sharif, thank you so much. Head of UN Habitat, thank you so much for dropping by to speak with us today and to give us more information on how we can help build sustainable cities.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm very happy to be here and to share whatever that is needed out there to promote the sustainable living and to provide the better quality of life for the stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. We'll be back on Monday, July 16th here in the SDG Media Zone. Please join us then.